was like. High school was not easy for me.
Kids are tough. I mean, I've heard people say how, kids are assholes, and they can be. I like to think that, I wasn't a jerk, but I know I wasn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody is, but there are some people that take it to the extreme. I mean, I remember watching, people were just ostracized and coming from another country and going into New York and Long Island. And I lived out there for a while too. And look, I'm from the Northeast. I enjoy it and I respect the people, but there's a different mentality, and it's a tough one. It's
absolutely
physically and mentally.
Well, you don't think as like a 13, 14-year-old girl, just, there to make friends and make a difference. You don't think that you're going into this tight knit group that have, grown up together, and they do not want a new girl. You're not thinking that. You are walking into school, smiling, excited to make long lasting friendships. And, you aren't thinking, and you have no idea that is not what you are about to walk into.
No, and it's a very impressionable time in our life. So what, I think we got good context of what happened, and you don't want to go into the detail, and I appreciate that. So what are the takeaways that you got from that before you moved? What were the big lessons?
Even if everyone doesn't admit it, I think everyone has been ostracized at a certain point in their life. So, I mean, I think everyone has felt, and I truly believe that people that make others feel, less than themselves, or others that put others down, I think that it's stemming from something. And I think that, they're doing it for a reason. And I
remember a big part of when people are, say someone dislikes you and says something nasty about you and they just met you, it's less about you and more about them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think that the big lesson was, never channel your insecurities out on someone else, because it can happen. I mean, you can be having a bad day and you can channel that out towards someone else, and you can really let that affect someone else. It actually, those years there gave me the self-confidence that I have today. I can walk into any room.
Good.
Definitely made me the woman I am today. I mean, I am a very young entrepreneur, and as big of a city as people think Las Vegas is, and the business community is actually a very small city.
Sure is. There's only a number. They always say there's about 100 people that you really need to know here.
Absolutely. So entering the business community, not knowing anyone, as a young woman, it can be nerve-wracking. So I'm really glad that I did have the self-confidence that I do to be able to do so. So I'm very grateful for those years in Long Island. I really am.
Yeah, and you should be. Everything happens for a reason, and it's great that you have understanding and the wisdom to be able to look back at a circumstance that was at the time difficult to overcome, right? And that's what we're getting at. We all go through these things, but you had the wisdom to look back and say, this served a purpose. It gave me what I needed to be successful now. Now, hopefully that inspires some people to do that more often. So a question on that too, because you mentioned a few times, being a young woman, young entrepreneur female in Las Vegas. Did you experience any sexism here?
I have experienced quite a bit, more than I would like to admit. Yes.
But you get the thick skin, so it doesn't matter.
I do. Yes. No, it hasn't affected me. It more makes me upset for other women that it does affect. That's what really saddens me, because I know a lot of other women, it really can. I feel so empowered, and I love waking up and getting to go to all the groups that I go to. And I love getting to empower other women and getting to be empowered by other women. I think that it is not a disadvantage whatsoever.
It is not a disadvantage.
A very tight-knit community here of those groups that, it's a very safe place for them to go because of this sexism that there is. And that's not the only reason. It's a great place for just women to connect. But it definitely is still present here. And it does we network, and we have thought twisters. So we write questions down on little pieces of paper. So it's anonymous. So if you have a question, it can be a question like, what do you do if you're having troubles managing managing your time? Or, what do you do if you work from home and you just cannot get out of bed? Whatever the question may be, it is so, it's just a question.
Yeah, so it's good. So it's
asking out loud. Yeah.
It's a mastermind. You all get together. So it's Limitless Ladypreneurs.
Yeah.
And is that a paid networking group or?
No, it is totally free. We just have,
just need to be a lady.
Yes, you have to be a lady. We've had a few men ask if, they can dress up, but no, the answer is no.
Well, what if, no, I won't even go there. So, and this is it's meeting up in the Northwest?
So it is at Public Us downtown.
Do you have personal habits that help you every day? Like, do you have a certain morning routine that gets you going? And
I go to the gym.
And that's it? I
do like to go to the gym. So I think that health is really important, especially when you're just working, 24/7 really.
Movement.
Staying on top of your mental health is really important, like making sure that you're keeping intact with not getting too stressed out, because you are kind of staying sane is very important for you and everyone around you.
So how do you do that? Do you have a daily practice with that?
Honestly, just staying organized is what is best for me. I haven't really picked up a certain practice.
So when you wake up then, being an early riser, do you wake up energized and ready to go, or do you need a cup of coffee to get it going? And then
I do not drink caffeine.
Wow.
Yes.
Pretty cool. You do all this on a natural high. Love it. Yes. More and more impressive each time. So is there any public figure that you like to follow that inspires you? No? It would come right to your head if you did. So what about giving you guidance? Is there somebody that helps you and gives you guidance that you look up to?
Really just close people that are in my life are the ones giving me guidance right now. I think it's really important to not be afraid to reach out and ask for help. I think that at the very beginning, I tried to act like I was okay and handling everything very well. And when at the beginning, I was a little bit in over my head, and I was enjoying it. I was so excited and the passion was there. But of course, I lacked a little bit of expertise. And of course, I was willing to learn, and I was eager, but it was very tough to keep up. So I was scared to ask for help. But the second that I got over that fear and asked for help to my, the close people that were in my life, everything got easier. And
isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah. Right. Well, it's so funny because I thought that I had the young thing going against me. And also that was a really funny thing that I struggled with is every time I walked into a room or any meeting, people were judging me against my age. And the second that I kind of got over that complex that, I'm young, they might not be impressed, or this meeting won't go well. The second that I got over, I'm young, people in tech are young, and I can do this, then it stopped happening. So the second that I kind of got over certain things that I maybe wasn't so comfortable with, things got easier.
Yeah. So when we have limiting self-beliefs, we project that. And so it's just like love. If you want someone to fall in love with you, you have to love yourself first. Absolutely. So if you want people to have confidence in you, you have to trust yourself first. But the funny thing about confidence is it's what you already said. It's about knowing when to ask for help. Mm-hmm. Confidence doesn't mean that you have all the answers. It just means that you're confident in your abilities and in who you are, and that you're going to figure it out. And as an entrepreneur, you're quickly realizing is that's a big part of the game. If not the biggest part of the game, it's your grit and your willingness to figure things out. And if you do that, even at the meeting yesterday when Guy was talking about that, right? He said, don't give up until the miracle happens.
Right.
And who cares? We don't know what other people are thinking about us. When you're in there pitching or doing a sale or whatever you have to do for your responsibilities for the day, it's not up to us to put thoughts in other people's minds.
Right.
All we're there to do is to share our story and to share whatever our intention is for going there and doing that. So that's good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite book?
Well, just a book I was actually talking about like a couple hours ago. It's in my mind. A favorite book. A book, it's called Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. I wouldn't say if it's my favorite book. I was just popped into my head. So this book is really, really cool for anybody buddy in marketing. It really was the coolest read for me because I was never in marketing before Off the Strip. And it's not even just, I mean, I think it's a cool read for anyone. It was designed to be like a 2-hour read for an airplane ride by any executive. The book is for, anyone designing a website, any type of digital platform. And it outlines how to, everyone likes to be creative, and that's great, but how to be creative in a way that you don't make your user think, right? Everyone wants to be creative and make things look different. But by doing so, sometimes you're going to have your user drop off or your customer leave. So it a lot of things that I was processing and how my brain works is I always want to sometimes make things complicated and I want to be as different as possible. But by doing so, I also make things a little bit more complicated. So the whole premise of the book is making things very simple for the user and your audience, not making them think. So I like to refer back to this book a lot. So that's a great read.
So, and especially in the context of what you're doing now as the director of marketing.
Absolutely.
What's the thing that you're most afraid of? Yeah. Like for me, it's sharks. They scare the hell out of me. I saw Jaws when I was a kid, and we were in Cape Cod, I think, when we saw it at the drive-in theater. And then of course it's in Cape Cod, and then I'm in the ocean the next day. And ever since then, I swam with a shark and pet it and everything, and it was totally fine, but it was a nurse shark and it wasn't scary. But great whites and everything scare the hell out of me. So,
ants really freaked me out as a kid. I got stuck. I got stuck in I was just covered with red ants.
Yeah, that's bad.
And I actually got stung once by 40. My sister paid me 20. I think it was my sister. She paid me $20 to run through a lavender field in France. And of course, the bees are on all the lavenders. They kind of hover over them. So I ran through the field and I came back and I had things just everywhere. And I remember it being very painful, but it wasn't so, but maybe I'll go with ants. I'm going to think about this though. I wouldn't say though, after the whole fear got lifted of asking for help, I really haven't thought about a severe fear. I would think to an extent everyone would kind of think failure, but I'm not even going to say that because I know off the strip already is such a success that really failure isn't a fear of mine. But
have you had a failure before?
Of course, I've had a lot of failures in my life. But
yeah, you're an actress. How many times did you get a no?
A lot of failure, but I think that every failure leads to a success. So I don't know if failure is really a fear. I think that ultimate failure could be a fear, at the end of your life. Failure could be at the end of your life. Were you happy? Was your life well lived? That could be, an ultimate failure.
It just depends on what your belief system is. It's just bringing you to the next level. And as you said, every failure leads to success.
Absolutely.
What's the impact you want to have left on the world?
I don't know if the impact needs to have been worldwide. Off the Strip is here to help locals, and that's what I'm doing right now. And
all right. So where can listeners find you?
So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and our site is offthestrip.com.
All right. Really easy. All right. Well, I want to say thanks. Thanks, Jenna, for coming on the show today. Look, Jenna is really someone you should follow. You can hear from her story. To overcome the common setbacks so early in life, it's a real accomplishment in and of itself. And starting a business, it's no easy task. So to make it prosper is even harder. You've been such an inspiration, Jenna. So don't hesitate, everybody. Start following her now. Start following Off the Strip. And remember to keep educating yourself to expand your potential. Keep pushing forward and design your life.
Thank you so much, Michael.